A Funny Taste in Music with Andrew Bird.
Hello. Happy with that. Hello. Welcome to A Funny Taste in Music. Thank you very much for listening to this. Where you're listening to it, where you're listening to your podcast. That's what I want to know. You're at work listening to it. Good on you. Gardening. I've had someone tell me they're doing a bit of gardening while listening to this. Happy to help. Happy to be in your ear holes while you're doing a bit of weeding. So this episode is with Rich Wilson, and I say at the start of this, Rich Wilson is one of the big reasons I've got this podcast, because I didn't know how to do a podcast. I had this idea for ages, and I asked him, how should I do it? And he got me in touch with Paul, the producer, and that's how it happened. So Rich is one of the main reasons this even happened, and I've been trying to get him on since the start. But Rich, much like me, is one disorganised motherfucker. And the diaries of trying to get... I bet Live Aid was easier to organise than getting me and Rich, not even in the same room, on laptops in separate rooms on Clean Feed, was like an international incident trying to get us together. And even when we did this episode, I'll tell you what happened. Well, I'll be honest, Rich was 45 minutes late. He got the wrong train. After the fourth time we cancelled, this was a fourth attempt, he was late. And then about halfway through, my Wi-Fi just cut out in my office. I had to run through the garden to my house carrying a laptop and microphone while a dog was running after me. Try and set up. Didn't work. Rich then had to do another podcast. Then I came back. Had to get my wife to pick the kids up from... Basically, it's a patchwork clusterfuck of a podcast. Hope you enjoy it. It's with Rich Wilson, who's got a haircut that you know that he's going to like good music. He's a brilliant comedian and just a good man. He's a good man. And make sure you listen to the Spotify playlist that's going to go along with this. Hopefully it'll be Oasis heavy. Let's see. Hope you enjoy it.
A Funny Taste in Music. The interview next.
Firstly, this podcast wouldn't even be happening if it weren't for you. Wouldn't even do a podcast if it weren't for you. Because I said to you, because you've got your great podcast, Insane in the Membrane.
That's right, mate.
And I said, I've got an idea for a podcast that I've probably nicked off a mate, but let's not dwell on it. And I just asked you, like, what sort of, I thought there'd be like a website you go on and record a podcast on there or something.
Oh, mate.
And you went, no, mate. He said, no, I've got like a producer. He's brilliant. He does everything. He knows how to edit stuff and he does the lot. I'll get you in touch with him, Paul. And he's excellent, does everything. And he decides on which a lot of bits that stay in the edit. So if this bit now of us praising him stays in, then his ego's getting out of control. Wait.
Editing.
Yeah, this is definitely in. This is in.
Yeah, we're becoming a double act producer, Paul and I, because we also do a radio show as well. And we're becoming this mighty duo.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
So yeah, that's how it got happening. So and yeah. And I mean, you were one of the first people I thought I've got to get on, because you're a music pusher. Whenever we see each other, we always, in a humorous way, try to come out with the most pretentious way of asking what music you're listening to. Basically, when we see each other, what you chucking in your lug holes? What you pouring in your ears? Some bullshit. I did one the other day that made me laugh at how pompous it was. My wife, she was ringing me. I always have music on while I'm cooking, and she's ringing me that she desperately needs some. I'm not answering the phone because I can't hear it because the music's full blast. So she comes and she goes, "Fuck, I rang you about 4 times." I said, "Sorry, I was absorbing Jerry Cinnamon."
But it's playful. Happy. It's playful. That's the thing. It's playful pretension.
So this is like this podcast is just like a standard conversation with me and you, because it usually starts with what you're listening to. I mean, when I first met you, you had the classic early 2000s Liam Gallagher haircut, the feathery, longer, tell you're a front man. of a band, or if you're at an Oasis gig, you look at you and go, "Yeah, of course." That style of haircut. I mean, you've gone through styles. You're a man of good thick hair that you can go through different styles. But what are you at the moment? Is it more rockabilly?
I think it's a mishmash of everything now. I think that's what people need to be doing, because it used to be, as you know, we're all into Oasis, so we were all dressing that way, or you were a mod, or you were a skinhead, and it was all very, you were part of that gang. And I think now, the way things are at the minute, there's a bit of fashion, but people are kind of doing what they want. And I think mine is now a mishmash of everything, of hip hop and mod and skinhead, and I love it. You can just wear what you like and do what you want, and people, it's what makes you happy. But it's nice if people look at you and go, "You look bloody great, mate." So I think it's just a mishmash of all sorts. I've got a bit of skate going on and all that.
We often compliment each other on each other's attire as well. It'd be a shame if you were a skinhead, I've got to say. You've got lovely hair. Be a waste.
It would be, wouldn't it?
What if there are skinheads? Waste? Well, I've never thought of that. Proper skinheads where you think, what a waste. There's bald people that would die for your hair that you've shaved off.
Yeah, exactly.
But for ages, so one of the bands that you did, we quite often sort of tell each other about bands and say, "Oh, you got to listen to them." One of the ones you did ages ago, you gave me, and I don't usually prep for one of these podcasts, but I did a bit of prep.
Mate.
One of the ones that you ages ago recommended to me was Maker.
Oh yeah, my boys.
You gave me their. It's more than an EP. It's got 8 tracks on it. You gave me that. I listened to it a couple of times, and I thought, I haven't listened to that for ages. I'll prep before I talk to Rich. And as I like to do, sometimes when you listen to music, then you think, I wonder what they're doing. And then you Google them, you go on their website, and they released their proper full debut album 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I never put together as well that the bloke in the band is the drummer, I think, is your mate, Gavin?
Yeah.
Who worked in Pretty Green.
That's it. Yeah.
On Carnaby Street. I remember you saying you go in Pretty Green, ask for Gavin, manager, his mate of mine, he might give you a discount. And I said to you, which one is it? And you said, you'll know from his hair.
Do you know what? Speaking of that, because I've been mates with them, I don't know, must be 16, 17 years. And I remember they lived down in Medway Way in Kent. And I remember getting in a taxi, and this is when I had my full head of hair, my mod hair, and getting in a taxi, chatting to the woman who was driving it, got to their house, and then I realised I hadn't told her where I was going. She just knew, but based on my haircut alone. She just drove me to their house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I went, "Oh, we're here." She went, "There you go, darling." And I went, "Oh, there's money." It won't talk about it. I went, I didn't tell her. So yeah, they were well known with the cab firms around the Medway area.
I mean, I feel like your hairdresser deserves some kind of compliment for that. I don't know how.
Steve Riddle, and I think he's still at the salon in Rochester. I can't remember what it's called. Sorry, Steve. But yeah, he used to run a mod night in the Manor Club. The Manor Club, sadly, no longer there. It got knocked down. But every Thursday, I think it was, I remember driving past with my partner at the time, Shell. And I saw the sign up and it said Mod Club every Thursday, and I'm like, I wouldn't mind checking that out. I hadn't really got into the mod thing at that point. I'd always loved it, but I hadn't really explored it. And I remember we used to go down there religiously every Thursday. And then I got talking to Steve, who was the main dude, and you wanted to get in with him, like see all the main characters and that. You're like, I would love to be mates with all these people. Got chatting with him, and then he went, "Well, I'm a barber. I sort everyone's hair out." And then he booked it in, and then he used to sort all of us out, me, Andy, Gav, because Andy and Gav, they're brothers in the band, Maker. And then and he sorted us all out. Yeah, so it was kind of this big community. There was hairdressers and all sorts. It was brilliant. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, that is a tricky one with getting your hair cut. It's hard to find somebody to do your hair. And what you have to do, which is massively awkward that I find, is take a picture with you.
Yeah.
But when it's someone who likes the kind of thing and likes the hair you like, that's miles.
Easy.
That saves the awkwardness of walking in a salon in front of other women and saying, I don't know if you know Definitely Maybe. I've got the album cover with me. That's what I have to do.
You know, and then you think, I think I look like Liam Gallagher. And I'm like, I don't think that. I just like the hair. Oh God, but so it's because Steve, and bless him, Steve Riddle, top man. So scared of cheese. Scared of cheese.
He's what?
He's scared of cheese. I keep saying this on every podcast. Every time I mention him, he's got a cheese phobia. Which because he's his black belt in all this other stuff. He does the door at nightclubs, or used to, and he's double hard, really cool, cuts hair, dances beautifully, but he's terrified of cheese.
What a Tinder profile that is. Works the door, dances beautifully, cuts hair, but scared of cheese. Wow. So if you wanted to get into a nightclub and he's on the door, just take a bit of brie.
Somewhat, I think Gav used to turn up with a Baby Bell.
Oh, that's perfect, because it's already in a wrapper. It's
Exactly.
ready to, it's ready to crack out any point. It's like some kind of cheesy kryptonite.
But he's double hard, and I probably shouldn't keep talking about it because he'll kick my head in next time I see him. Even though we're socially distant, he can do it with his mind.
That's how good he is. I don't know if he would kick your head in, because he'd be going, but that beautiful hair, I don't want to get blood in it.
Yeah, maybe it's that. I'm too pretty to get my head kicked in.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was reading about Maker. I was reading about their albums only 2 years ago. They've so that's done. That's on there.
Yeah, mate.
I'm buying that. Getting it. I want to get the CD. It looks like one that you want on CD, not just to listen on Spotify.
Oh, I bought the vinyl. I actually bought, even though they're my mates, I bought the vinyl.
Yeah, you feel like you should even more.
Yeah, of course you do. You can't. I think it's. Yeah, I mean, there's so many people who expect everything for free. Sort us out. But when it's something like that, they put a lot of work into that. I remember seeing when I first saw them, they were just a trio. There was three of them and I met them at the Mod Club, and I remember watching them going, I didn't even know them, just watching this band. I'm like, what? They are astonishing. And the girl I mentioned, Shell, who I was with, Gav broke his drumstick and threw it in the crowd, and she caught it. So she's still servicing that. She just fancied Gav all the time. It's like, and I just thought they were great. And then we were down there again seeing another band, and the lads were there from Maker. They were sort of stood in front of me. And I remember watching this band, and I leaned into it was Andy, Gav's brother, and I went, these are shit, mate. I said, they're not as good as you lot. And he just turned around and was like, oh, nice one, bruv. And then we just kept bumping into each other. And next thing I know, we just ended up being like best mates. And they're like brothers to me. Like, we don't even see each other for ages, but we just know that they're still there. And it's one of them, like, if someone, one of them will go, oh, this has happened, this bloke, someone's been a bit of a tit. And we go, right, what do we need to do? Do we need to go have a word with this person? It's no like, oh, why? What did you do to wind him up? It's just like, we just like, no, I love you. And whoever has upset you, it's definitely their fault. It's like, it's really nice. They're good lads.
I haven't have that. My mates, I'd definitely have to inquire what they've done. It would definitely
I've got mates like
fault.
that. I've got mates. And it turns out, normally it's Gav's fault.
Yeah, you've got to the bottom of it now.
Yeah, oh, Gav, it was you. You did piss on that bloke's car. Right, okay.
The CD you gave me of theirs is 2006. So they've been at it a while. They've released that album 2018. That's their debut album. So
that's it.
Been working at it.
Yeah, and they've smashed it as well because their biggest influence was the Black Crows. And then Rich Robertson has become a mate of theirs, and they've flown out, and they did a load of recordings year before, in Levon Helm's studio in his barn.
No way.
Yeah, mate. So they're really
Levon Helm from the band.
Yeah, Bob Dylan's old backing band. We'll have to talk about them at length at some point. The only singing drummer really that's allowed is Levon Helm. You can't have singing drummers, mate.
No, he's the only one who gets away with it, and looks cool as
he does it. So cool. Oh, I tell you what though, the drummer from a band called Evil Blizzard, he's the singer. He's all right.
Yeah, you're going to let him. Give him a pass. He's no Levon Helm, but
I'm not mucking around with them. Evil Blizzard, mate. Their keyboard player holds meat cleavers as he's playing, so he's dressed as a pig. And he's got meat cleavers. They've got 4 bass players. You ain't fucking around with Evil Blizzard, mate.
Yeah, they ain't got any vegans in the band either.
No way.
He's dressed as a pig with meat cleavers.
And they're all dressed in like, they've all got different Halloween masks. Like, one of them looks like a giant baby, and he's got this big giant baby head, and then he's wearing this like disco sequins suit with like flared cuffs and legs, and yet they play this horrible, filthy, dirty, evil heavy metal. It's bananas.
Right.
It's bananas. Yeah, Evil Blizzard.
The Masked Singer. They stole that idea from them.
The drummer sounds like Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, right.
It's good,
Wow.
man. Yeah, it's not normally my cup of tea, but we saw him at a gig. I was with Phil Nicol, and we just done this gig at the O2. Not in the O2, above the bar in All Bar One. And we hadn't had a great time, so we're hammered. We walked downstairs, and the gig itself was, they were playing Rainbow. There was Rainbow, The Sweet, loads of bands like that. It's like this heavy metal weekender. And then we walked down, they put this stage in the front of the O2 by the doors. And on that stage, we walked down, and I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? They've got 4 bass players. 4.
What?
Yeah, so we go wandering over. I'm like, we got to watch this. So we're all jumping around, going mental, pissed. One of them, the big baby, giant baby, jumps off the stage towards the end. He gives me his bass, and he just goes, just smash it, mate, just smash it. I'll do all the buttons on stage. So there's this carnage going on, and we're whacking this bass, and we were banging it against the security gates at the front, and everyone's going mental on this bass, and he's turning the dials on stage like, wheel, wheel, wheel. It's mad. Evil Blizzard.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, gone off track.
No, that's what I mean. I started talking about Maker because I thought they're your mates.
They are my
let's
mates,
really
yeah.
plug them. And you've gone into one over Evil Blizzard, but I can see why. One's dressed as a baby and hands out a bass halfway through the song. That's a gig, isn't it? You get to go home with an instrument.
I had to give it back, but
right.
otherwise you get meat cleavered by the keyboard player. But,
Yeah, good point. They act as their own security when the drums have got a meat cleaver.
but
They ain't that stage ain't getting rushed, is it?
Imagine that. But yeah, Maker are. I'm so proud of them. They're just such a good bunch of lads.
It's like
And they work really hard.
It's really bluesy,
Yeah.
sort of psychedelic. I think you'd call it that. It's bloody good.
It's like southern. It's like southern
sounds
rock, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a tiny bit like, it's probably a lazy comparison, a little bit like Jet, but a bit more.
Yeah.
You remember Jet, but it sounds it's a bit more psychedelic and a bit more oomph.
Yeah.
I'd
It's like a mash of like Jet, Black Crows, the band, loads, the Faces. I remember when I first met them, they were all wanging on about Rod Stewart. And I'm like, nah, I'm not having it. I'm not, they're massive Rod Stewart fans. I'm like, no, absolutely not. And then they started playing me Rod Stewart's old stuff, sort of pre-Sailing. And
Is it Mullet?
Yeah.
Anything pre or post Mullet.
Anything
for any
after,
band.
anything after Sailing is fucking rubbish. But before that, and they were playing me like stuff by the Faces and these old stuff with Steam Packet or whatever it was called, and I'm like, oh my god, this is actually brilliant, because I was only aware of Rod Stewart from the 80s, so I'm like, no, this is dog shit. But no, huge fan of Rod Stewart now, of his early stuff.
Right, and Maker recorded their album. I was reading about it, Rockfield.
Yeah, mate.
Where Oasis recorded Wasserstani.
Yes, there's a picture. I think the picture on the inside cover, there's a picture of Gav, and he's actually sat on the wall, on the Wonderwall that Noel wrote Wonderwall.
Oh no, he didn't write it on it. He wanted to.
Yeah, he wrote,
because there's that documentary on YouTube where he wanted to record it on a wall.
Yeah.
So I've got a song called Wonderwall, and I want to record it on a wall.
That is when you know that the cocaine is great.
Yeah,
and you should not be trusted.
Yeah. That's why you have a producer to make decisions, but he was off his head as well. But so that the producer there, that album is Nick, who worked on What's the Story.
Yeah.
And he had, from that, I remember he had, Noel Gallagher was high and gave him his guitar that he played Wonderwall on. And they used it on their album. How brilliant is that?
Yeah, man. The boys have smashed it. They've absolutely smashed it. And I'm so proud of them. I was their manager for about 20 minutes.
What one decision did you make that got you sacked immediately?
It was just before. It was just as I was.
The drummer needs meat cleavers. They went, Rich. No.
You know what you need? You need more bass. This is another bass
Not
player.
more. Yeah. What you mean? Turn the bass up? No. 4 more bass players.
Evil Blizzard have got 4. Let's go 5.
Yeah.
I used to go to their practice sessions on a. I think,
Oh, really?
Yeah, years ago.
Brilliant.
There was me and John, who's now their bass player, and we used to go, and I used to just sit in the corner getting pissed, and just listen to them do their stuff and muck around, and it was so good. And then we just kind of, I don't know how it came about. I went, well, I'll manage you if you want. And I can't even send emails. I'm rubbish at picking up the phone. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, this is the 4th attempt we've had at doing this
I know.
podcast, Rich.
Can you imagine so all I ended up
You
doing.
can't be a manager.
I ended up, I think, what did I do? I booked them and we did a gig at the Manor Club, which was a success. I said to them, right, we'll just have free to get in, but bring all your merch, people will buy it. And that's how you make your money. And they were like, oh, I don't know. Like, it'd be great. So we did this. This is before Ali joined the band. So I think this is just when there were still 3 of them. And we did this gig, and I remember standing there. It was like, gig starts at like 8, and I remember like 1:45, and no one's there. I'm like, oh shit, oh my god! And then suddenly it was like Field of Dreams, just these people just coming out of nowhere, and it got rammed, and it was one of the best gigs I ever saw them play. All the merch sold out. It was like a proper Hollywood success story. It was wicked.
Right.
Yeah, it was wicked. And then later on, I think I paid. They owed some money to the practice room where they kept going, so I paid that. And then I booked in. I think I tried to book something else. I had them on a night when I was up the creek in Maidstone, and I booked a night there with a guy called Scary Dave. And Scary Dave was this promoter. He's still around, I think. And I said to him, and when he turned up, I went, "Are you scary or frightening, Dave?" I can't remember. And he lifted his shirt up, and it tattooed across his belly, it was Scary Dave.
I cleared that up.
And I went, "Oh, cool. Right, we can move on." Yeah,
If someone's got scary in their name, it's either scary or frightening. It's not someone who you question on their name, Rich.
We just thought anyone who's got that as their name.
If he was called Approachable Dave, then question him. Fucking Scary Dave. Are you scary or frightening Dave?
I couldn't remember. I didn't upset him. Like, how do I? Is it Mr. Scary? Is it Johnny Frightening? I didn't know what to say, so I questioned it. And anyone who's got that in their name, come on.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're not scary.
So what got you sacked, or did you resign?
I think I just stopped doing it. I think we just quietly and silently agreed that it wasn't right. It wasn't working. And then I think, and then comedy started to kick in. So I was starting to do that. So I was getting a bit busy. So,
right.
So I couldn't really do it. Didn't have time.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's great when you know. So I know a musician. It's great when you know someone in a band.
Yeah.
Their music means even more. And it gives you but it does make you angrier when you see the shit that's, in the charts.
Oh God, yeah.
And the shit that sells millions, and then you see how much someone how much work they put in, how good they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're not getting a millionth of that.
It's ridiculous. There was that singer-songwriter you sent me. What's his name?
John Allen, that's what
John Allen, yeah.
Right,
John
mate.
Allen, that's it. And his stuff is fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's
got his music's the start of this podcast, that little bit.
Excellent. I remember you telling me about him and then getting into it, and he's phenomenal. And yet, there's so much dog shit in the charts and that.
Yeah.
Good luck to everyone. But I think what it is...
Well, everyone.
Good luck to you. But the thing is, the world is run by basic bitches.
Yeah.
And that's why all these basic television programs and basic music reaches the top, because there's more unimaginative people listening to it. And I'll die on that hill. I don't give a shit. I'm interested.
I'll step up on that hill with you.
Yeah, come on, mate.
Move over. Right, so I sort of knew immediately when I met you, well, we're probably going to like the same music, I imagine.
Yeah.
Just on first sight.
You could tell.
I knew that.
By footwear alone.
Yeah.
You can tell.
And I was proved right. But you're a little bit older than me, though. You're a bit...
Yeah.
but all that, even though you're older than me, I sort of... You seem like if we were in the same year at school, we would have been mates.
Absolutely.
Undoubtedly. You know, when you'd meet someone who's a different age to you, but you think, yeah, but if we were the same year, we'd have been mates.
Of course we would. We'd have been, mate. We'd have been untouchable at school.
Oh yeah. Well, I was alone anyway, mate. But you. So you're what? So I was talking about it recently about how I think you're aware of music at about the age of sort of 8, something like that.
Yeah.
You start getting aware of it. You start buying your own around 11, 12.
Yes.
And then you get really obsessive around sort of 14, 15 maybe. So what sort of what year were you when you were 15? What year would that have been?
That would have been 72. So it would have been 87 that I was 15.
Right.
But in the 80s, here's the thing, right? I grew up with amazing music because my mum and dad had really good taste. I was really lucky.
Yeah, me too.
Mum was massively into Queen and reggae and stuff like that, and my dad was into the Stones and blues, and we only had
what a mix!
Yeah, it was
a great mix.
It was fantastic. I remember being taken out. I've said this before. Getting taken out to like Notting Hill, and there's this record shop. I think it was just a door in a wall, and we went in. This is when Mum and Dad were really getting into reggae. And we went in this door, and then there's these massive Rastafarian guys at the counter, and they're all chatting away, and we're in there, and the mum and dad listening to stuff on headphones. They're going, "Oh yeah, we'll take that," and they're getting all this advice from the dude behind the counter. It was amazing. And then, it was my first. I just remember being really little and just going, wow, what is this place? And just the music was always around. I was very lucky. But then in the 80s, I started getting into like 80s pop music, and I was a massive fan of Level 42. Like, obsessive. I was obsessed by them.
Really?
I don't know why. It was like, I don't know, something just connected. I just connected with them for some reason. And I had all their vinyl, and I used to have a scrapbook full of their stuff. But then at the same time, I still had the influences from my dad. And the first band I ever saw in when I was 14 was The Damned at Hammersmith.
Good one.
Yes.
With your dad?
Yeah, my dad introduced me to punk. How about that?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he's 75 now, but yeah.
What a dad. I've told this before. My first ever gig was with my dad.
Really?
Because where did you grow up again? In Kent?
Orpington in Kent, yeah.
Yeah. So you're a little bit far out to be going into London on your own, maybe. But you probably did when you were a little bit older. But I lived in the middle of nowhere, so my first gig was Wembley Arena with my dad, Bob Dylan.
Oh wow,
it's a pretty good one. But The Damned,
yeah.
But I never bought albums. I mean, I never saw my parents buying albums with headphones on, asking for recommendations from a Rasta. Never had that.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. And then I remember coming out, and everyone, because of the smell of marijuana was quite strong in this place. I didn't know that's what it was. It just smelled, because it was in the 70s, late 70s. So everybody smoked indoors, so everywhere stunk of smoke anyway.
Yeah, just blended in, didn't it?
Yeah, so I remember being in there, and we're like, oh, it smells unusual in here. And they're doing all this music. Then we come out, and Mum and Dad are like, oh, I'm really hungry. Should we go and get McDonald's?
Well, your parents were stereotypical, weren't they?
It's really weird because they were like that then, but now it's like
these are good records. Should we get lunch?
They all mash up. I had to, because now they're quite. I don't know, I suppose because it's age, maybe, but they don't like a fuss, and I was talking the other day, and my dad said, I don't like David Attenborough. And I'm like, oh, come on, Dad, how can you not like David Attenborough? And he's like, he's like a jumped up newsreader. They've really gone the other way.
Controversial statements on David Attenborough from your dad. He's still a punk, your dad.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
he's an old punk giving it to the man, and the man is now David Attenborough.
It never leaves you.
No. So you grew up with that, and then you went sort of level 42. Did you say? Yeah. 42.
So it's level 42 and jazz funk.
Oh, really?
I was into, yeah. And then it kind of, and then the sort of the explosion of the Happy Mondays and the baggy thing.
Oh, there you go.
And that's when
I was waiting for it to turn.
That's when, well, I still had, because I had the Smiths and because my dad, every month, I know this now, I didn't know this at the time, but every month we'd go out at the end of the month, and he'd buy a load of records. So obviously when he got paid, we'd go out, and then we'd come back on that Saturday afternoon, and he'd be playing all the records, and then going in, and then we just play music all night. It was brilliant. And he was taping.
Your dad sounds like you now.
Yeah, exactly. And he was
Your dad
taping.
was like your mate, wasn't he?
He was taping stuff off the charts. Like he used to tape because we didn't have a radio in the car. We had this tape player, so he used to record the charts, and then we'd have it in the car. I found out about my dad's decorating album was Frampton Comes Alive. And every time he knew that was coming on, Dad would put that on and go, right, we've got to get out of the way because Dad's decorating.
See, I've got that with my mum, that I know every word of any Johnny Cash song because my mum used to have Johnny Cash was her cleaning music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
So your dad, I imagine you as a teenager playing music in your room and your dad banging on the wall telling you to turn it up. Come on, what's up with you, Rich? Turn it up.
I tell you what happened. We were on holiday and we were in Cornwall, and I'd made all these cassettes, and and Mum and Dad used to say, these are really good. Well done. I remember one day playing this. I played a load of. It was remixes by Level 42, but it was like there was like 3 of each song, like one after the other. So you'd have like 3 of Something About You, but because I knew the difference, I just had this tape on and I was playing it, and then halfway through my dad went, I'm really sorry, but you've got to turn this off. I can't listen to this. He's playing the same songs over and over. I'm like, yeah, but that's the remix, Dad. And then as that, he goes, I don't care. He goes, turn it off. Brilliant. And then we had to put on the other ones, and then we had White Wedding by Billy Idol, and everyone was fine.
So, lovely.
Yeah.
I like that as a telling off from your dad. Right. yeah. I have to show some authority now. Turn that shit off.
Yeah. I'm not having this, mate. I'm not. I'm just not.
I do remember that where I did worry what my mum and dad thought of like my generation of music, in that I clearly, because I knew they had like the Stones, the Beatles, the Who, Johnny Cash. That's mainly what my mum and dad listened to.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, can't argue with that. I mean, they're in a position of authority there. And then I used to watch Top of the Pops, and my dad used to walk in the back door of the house, go through the garage. He was a builder.
Yeah.
Walk through the back door, carpenter, and walk through the living room. So he'd see and hear what's on telly, glance at what you're watching. And if Top of the Pops was on, he'd always walk through it the shittest song, and you had to take the blame for it like it was yours. And my dad would walk through and go, oh, fuck, what's this fucking shit? I'm like, what?
I'm just watching the programme as a whole.
And that's why it was so great when Oasis come along. You could finally go, yes, that stands up to everything you've got. But so for you, how old were you then when like the Manchester Baggy Happy Mondays?
So that would have been in 1988. So I just left school.
Oh, brilliant! And perfect.
It was everything. Like you could suddenly wear all these magical colours. You could listen to anything. It was Sean Ryder that, listening to Sean Ryder interviews and watching him on stuff, and there's a story of him locking himself in his studio and just having "You Sexy Thing" by Hot Chocolate on a loop as he sat in the dark with just this down, 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 down. And it taught me that you can listen to anything. Because back then, I'm not listening to Hot Chocolate. That's Mum's music, or that's old people's music, or whatever. And then they were listening to, country and western and all this other stuff, and it really opened me up. It was amazing.
It could be influenced by loads of different stuff and make it new.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And wearing my salmon pink kickers. I had salmon pink kickers with purple stitching. And I had like big baggy jeans, and then you'd have all these like flower power tops on, like tie dye and all this stuff. And then I grew my hair into curtains. Yeah, I was like, any picture you see of anyone from that time, that's what I look like.
Yeah. I can see it. Complete the Sean Ryder curtains.
Yes, that's how the mother of my kids and I got together, because we were at a party. And I looked across and I was like, oh, wow, she looks amazing. She had like Cleopatra's hair, Dr. Martens, and these colourful tights on. I'm like, I'd never seen a girl like that before. She was really cool. So that's the sort of girl you see them at gigs.
Yeah. And
they're always with other fellas and like cool looking fellas. I'd never seen someone like that at a family do. And there she was.
Right.
And she looked at me, she's like, I was dancing like Sean Ryder at this party, and that's what attracted him. Yeah.
So you've parted your curtains and your eyes met. I had curtains. That's a hairstyle I don't think will come back.
God, no.
I don't know.
It just
I mean,
looks-
you would have thought bum bags would never come back and things like that.
Well, that's like, well, yeah, everyone's got them now.
They might. That's going to happen, I reckon. One day there'll be a weird fashion of retro, late 80s, early 90s
Curtains, and because
come back.
like my Mrs. Jade, it just screams. That hairstyle just screams Lynx Africa, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can almost smell it. Yeah.
Yeah, she did a whole bit of it about it in her show. And it really made me laugh. I was like, oh my God, it's exactly how it was. Clumsy sex, Lynx
Yeah.
Africa, and curtain hair.
Yeah. I was more Java, but yeah. So were you into the Smiths, or was you more into the baggy kind of? Was you into Stone Roses as well?
I was a Happy Mondays. I was more Mondays than Roses.
Oh, right.
But I loved them both. But I was
Yeah.
more Mondays. Mondays just, I don't know. They just seemed to speak to me more than the Roses did. The Roses seemed to be more fun with the Mondays.
Yeah.
You know?
Does that? I bought a when Q magazine does like a whole magazine of just one band of all their articles through the years.
Yeah.
I bought that about the Happy Mondays. I really got into them at one point, and like only like about 10 years or 15 years ago, so way after. But I really got into them, and I read a story about Sean Ryder woke up on the tour bus next to somebody, one of the roadies or something, and they were so drunk they'd thrown up all over Sean Ryder, and he woke
my
up covered
God.
in vomit and went, oh, like that. And the bloke next to him went, sorry, Sean, that was me. And Sean went, oh, that's all right then. I thought I'd disgrace myself.
These are proper stories that you're not going to get anymore.
You ain't getting that. You ain't getting that with new bands.
No, you want rock stars, mate. You want them to be upsetting people and things like that. That's why we want them. That's why we put them on these pedestals. Like, yeah, go and smash that up. Go and do the things you shouldn't do. Say the things you shouldn't say. But now everyone's worried they're going to get cancelled.
Yeah,
So
I
no
love
one
those.
says anything.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love those. You're not going to get documentaries like you get about like Factory Records. All of those stories of like they spent like £250,000 on a table
For the boardroom.
that was wired to the ceiling, and then the Happy Mondays all went and sat on it for a photo shoot and completely destroyed it. And then where did the Happy Mondays went to? Where they went to Barbados?
They
was it?
sent her to
record an
Barbados
album
because they
And
went because the drugs were getting out of hand, and they sent her to Barbados
To clean up.
not knowing that Barbados at that time at where they were was like the crack capital of the world. So there's a moment. I think didn't Sean try and sell the sofa from the studio, trying to drag it out. The thing saw someone else walking up the beach wearing Bezzy's clothes or something. Where he'd flogged them to someone to get crack. Yeah, and then held the tapes hostage until more money was sent.
Oh yeah. And when the tapes finally came back, I think there was no vocals on any of it, and it was just a slurge.
And Bez kept crashing Jeeps. He crashed a Jeep, smashed his arm up. Now those, that thing with the framework and the pins.
Yeah.
There's that famous photo of him, and he had that. And then when he's out of hospital, gets another Jeep and does it again.
I mean,
That's what you want.
Yeah, but it's like he didn't have a lot to do. Anyway,
Yeah, but mate,
he's
imagine
only
that.
got to dance, and he's fucked that up. So you're really into Happy Mondays, and then from that, did you? Was you? Then you said you became a mod. Was that long after that?
That was later on. I think I got into it much later. It would have been because then because Britpop had happened, and that was quite a mod vibe in the 90s, mid 90s. And I really wanted to, but again, like it goes back to what we said. I didn't know how to ask where to get your hair cut. I was very shy, so I kind of like looking at people going, "Oh, you look really cool," and never really, didn't have the balls to ask where you got it, where you got that sort of look.
That's why
done.
Pretty Green was such a good shop, because you just went in and went, "Here it is, here it is."
Yeah, it's all there, laid out in front of you.
Oh, I never knew where to go, where to get it, and because
Never ever.
I'd say that's the look I'm going for. I said when I used to go into Pretty Green, I said, what my look is a rejected Pretty Green model that won't take no for an answer. That's the look. I want to, and when I get them a haircut, I say to them, I want to look like I am the songwriter and guitarist. I'm not the front man, but I'm the creative driving force of a band. It's quite a specific hair. Yes, yeah,
like
it's quite hard for them to
Chiefs.
get that right, to be fair to them.
But it's difficult when, like you say, you don't know. So when shops like that open, you go, oh, okay. For people that don't know, you go, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. Although I got a bit fed up with like Lambretta and things like that clothing label, because it was. I remember talking to Anthony, who used to be in Make. He was a keyboard player, and I remember this is before he was really into it and I remember him making a comment. He goes, look, if it's got a Lambretta on the front or a Target on it, don't buy that album, because it's like the Asda of mod. Do you know what I mean? It's like anything that's got that on it.
It's a good rule of thumb. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's not going to be the true.
It's like a
thing that
home
you're
brand
after.
version.
Yeah. It's like a Woolworths used to do compilations, and they'd like best of mod, and it would have people on scooters and a Target, and they'd be down at Brighton, you know, and they're like, that's not even real mod. Real mods wouldn't have got involved in all that scuffling with the rockers in the early 60s, because they would have scuffed their shoes. No one's doing that.
Good point.
By the time that became mainstream, your real mod was already off doing his own.
I like that thing about the Parker is we think of it as a really expensive, cool coat. The Parkers were, they had those coats so they could put them on the floor and lay on them while they fix their scooters. That's what they were for.
Yeah.
And yet they now cost 200 odd quid.
I know. I've had a couple of them. By my dad. My dad
what
bought me
a
them.
dad.
Yeah.
Took you to the Damned, bought you a Parker.
He did, a proper one with a detachable hood with the metal in it that keeps it upright. It keeps the hood upright. Yeah, proper one. I can't remember what it's called. Like, and it's an AR-52 or whatever it is. I can't remember.
I like that. In a lot of dad-son relationships, it's buying your first pair of football boots. In your house, here's your first Parker, son. You've come of age.
Punk record.
Right.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Yeah, the Damned are on at 9 o'clock. We've got to go.
But he took me to see loads. The last band we went to see together, he said, I'm a bit old for it now. But we used to be. That's how we that's how we kept our relationship going, because we didn't have a lot else in common. But music was the thing that bound us together. We went to see PIL at Electric Ballroom in Camden. And that was about whenever that was, 4 or 5 years ago.
How old did you say your dad was? So he was about 70 at the time.
So he was
going to see Pill at the age of 70.
Yeah. I remember seeing them, and he came with us to see the Damned in Brighton with me and Marcus Birdman.
He was on last week.
Yeah, good old Birdman.
Marcus Birdman, and your dad.
Yeah, went to see the Damned in Brighton.
What a day out! What a collection of haircuts that must have been.
Well, this is it. I remember saying to my dad, I bought my dad tickets for Christmas, and I'm like, I'll go and see the Damned. And then Marcus went, "Oh, can I come?" I went, "Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, absolutely." So we all went and saw the Damned together. Lovely.
Sounds very nice.
Yeah.
And,
Dad just leant against the wall at the back of the gig of the Brighton Dome, and Marcus and I had a bit of a jump up and down.
So you two went and pogoed, and he went, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to sit this one out."
Yeah, he pogues don't. He just sat down and watched. Had a nice time.
Pogue don't. Yeah.
Pogue don't.
At a certain age. But
that works.
So you sort of went seamless. Did you go seamlessly through like the Happy Mondays and then right into Britpop then? Just.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I had kids. Mind you, I got derailed a bit. Not derailed. That's not the word. I had kids when I was 20.
That was the main thing I noticed. The big difference. They say it changes when you have kids. And what changed for me is I couldn't afford to buy albums anymore when they came out. I had to wait till they had the £7 sticker on. That was top end for me. Yeah. $7. I'm waiting 4 months until it's gone down to $4.
Yeah, that was it. And then a big sale at Christmas. You couldn't be. Yeah, you couldn't afford it. And your life becomes the kid. So you're still aware of your music, but not as much.
The thought of spending money on 2 tickets to go and see a band now, it's like, 70 quid a ticket, 140 quid. It's 200 quid to see a band with 2 kids. It's just out of the question suddenly, isn't it? We used to.
Yeah, exactly.
You remember when you used to hear of a band playing that night? Remember that? What a feeling! Are they on tonight? Oh, there won't be tickets. Oh, we might be able to get hold of some. Get some.
We used to, going up to town when I was a kid, so late 80s, with my mate Pat, and we'd get up there. He'd go, right. He goes, Wonder Stuff are playing the Town and Country Club. So he'd be like, we just got on the train and got up there, and then we got the tickets off this tout, £6 each.
Wow.
To go and see the Wonder Stuff when they were doing, I think, 8-Legged Groove Machine had just come out, and that's when we saw them. Yeah, it was amazing to be able to go and do that. We go and see the football. We go and see Arsenal on a Wednesday, like £4 to get in. Go down at the North Bank, shouting at the clock end.
But you, so that the first band you ever went to, the first gig you ever went to, was with your dad, and and then
Hammersmith Odeon.
Who do you think you've seen the most over the years? What band do you think you've seen more than any other? Really?
Be the Damned. I've seen the Damned. Yeah, I've seen them. God knows how many times. Seen them on most tours. I've seen them loads. Yeah, the Damned. Numerous times. Couldn't tell. I saw them when they were supporting the Ramones.
Jesus,
in Brixton.
you saw the Ramones?
Yeah, mate. I didn't really know much about the Ramones. Again, my dad had a mate, Dave, who's no longer with us, bless him. But he used to go to see bands with him, and then he said, "Oh, we're going to see the Ramones and the Damned." He's like, "You want to come?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right." So we went and saw the Ramones. Yeah, I didn't really know many of the songs because it was all like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they get into it. But 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the only bit I remember.
Their gigs only lasted about like 40 minutes. Their songs were so short, and live they were even quicker.
And I couldn't believe how big and tall Johnny Ramone was.
Yeah.
He was like a lamppost in jeans.
That's quite a good one that you've seen the Ramones with the Damned supporting them.
Yeah. I've been really lucky to see. I saw the Verve when they were supporting Black Crowes. I've been lucky seeing the bands that I've seen. I saw the Black Crowes one weekend, one Sunday, but they were doing all B-sides and jamming, and it wasn't that exciting. I love them, but I'm not that big a fan. I didn't really know what they were playing. I'm about to leave with my ex-wife, and she just went, "Hang on a minute, it's going to be an encore." And we're watching the encore. I'm like, "Is that Jimmy fucking Page?" And Jimmy Page came out and played rock and roll with the Black Crowes.
And that is why you never go before the encore.
Never leave before the encore, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Think, I'll go and get the tube, miss the encore. That right there.
No, exactly. I didn't go and see Ocean Colour Scene in 1996 or 7 because I was working, and for some reason I went, "No, I've got to work," and I gave my tickets to my mum and dad and my sister. And they went off to see Ocean Colour Scene in the when Ocean Colour Scene blew up. And then I remember coming in that night and saying to my sister, "How was it?" And she went, "Oh, I saw Oasis." I went, "No, it wasn't Oasis. It was Ocean Colour Scene." She went, No. Oasis came out with them and went through. They did. I can't remember what they did, but they blasted through some tune with them just before Oasis were massive. Yeah. So Liam and Noel came out and played whatever it was. Yeah, like Day Tripper or something like that by the Beatles or something.
Wow. So you were like properly in Britpop. You were well into Oasis, but you were you probably appreciated them more than me.
Yeah.
I just thought everyone has a band like this when they're 15. It's quite now you're older. You look back on it and think how lucky you were at the age you were to have a band. Like for you, the Mondays. I was 15. What's the Story? Morning Glory came out 2 days after I was 15. I mean that's. It's a good band to have.
I saw them on the chart show doing Supersonic, and I wasn't asked. I was like, another indie band. I didn't really take much notice, to be honest. I kind of went, whatever. It was the video to Supersonic on the roof at King's Cross. Yeah. And then, I was like, it's fine. And then I remember seeing the single out and about, and I'm like, oh, that's that band. I didn't really take any notice. And then I was in a record shop in Greenwich with my son, and my son was 2. And I remember being in there, and they were playing Shaker Maker, and I remember going, "Cheeky cunts, the cheeky bastards! That's the fucking cokehead." I went, "Who's this?" It's Oasis, and I went, "Right, I'm having this." So I bought that, and then suddenly it just clicked, and I went, I need to have everything that this band chucks out. I just had to have it. And then I remember Definitely Maybe came out, and I remember queuing for that. And I remember, I've said this story before. I remember queuing for it in Croydon HMV, and I'm standing there, and my young lad, he's going, it was a really hot day, and he's going mad, going, oh, Daddy. I'm like, look, just let Daddy buy this, and then we'll go and get an ice cream or something like that. We were going to go, I said, just let me get this, And he was ramping himself up, he's getting more and more irate. I'm like, just wait. And he's like, and he got so angry, he turned around and he went to bite me, and he bit the end of my knob through my jeans.
What? This was why you were queuing for Definitely Maybe?
Yeah. I nearly fucking frisbeed the record across the shop because he just caught. He spun round. He just got like we moved at the same time, and he didn't mean to. He obviously just was freaking out, and he just bit my penis. I was like, you fuck, and just So every time I think about Definitely Maybe, I remember the time my own son bit my penis through my jeans.
That's not your standard.
Nah.
Remember buying an album story. I mean, you were more kind of, when you were a kid, taking in smell of weed.
Yeah.
A Rasta, talking to your mum and dad.
Yeah.
When it went the other way, at no point did you bite your dad's penis when he was carefully going through damned records.
Exactly.
You've told your son about this.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've mentioned it a couple of times.
Yeah. He
Definitely Maybe one of the greatest debuts ever. But whenever you see it, you think your son bit your knob.
Yeah, every time. But then the memories of that album was everywhere. And I remember I had it on the vinyl, and I remember just looking at the pictures of the boys in the middle and just like, wow, they look cool. They look so cool. And yeah, I just loved it. And I just couldn't get enough of them.
Yeah, it does look iconic straight away. That
yeah.
I bet it did at the time. As soon as you got it, that album.
As soon as you got it, it was. I've never felt like that about an album before. It was so exciting to have it because there'd been such a build up, because the singles were so strong, and they just exploded, and he just needed. A mate of mine, Simon Rhodes, I've known him years, and he collects vinyl, and he inspired me a lot with musical choices and things like that. And he wouldn't normally go for Oasis. It's not normally his thing, but even he had it on in his car. It was like the soundtrack to the summer that year or the year after.
Yeah.
It was like everybody just had Oasis on.
See, I think I was a little bit too young for Definitely Maybe. I would have been about, it came out in 93.
94, yeah.
94? Yeah, 94.
Yeah.
And so I was like 13, so I was a bit young to be going and buy it.
Yeah.
I've never queued up for an album.
No, mate.
It's not often you queue up for an album, is it?
No, and the queue was massive. Like, it was out the door. Everybody was getting it. And I've still got that copy. My dad recently, a couple of years ago, gave me his record collection, because he's like, it just sits upstairs in the spare room. He's like, do you want it? I'm like, yeah, of course. So then, and in amongst that, when I needed a bit of money when I was younger, and he bought some records off me. So in amongst all of his collection was the records that I'd sold him, and in that was the original first pressing of Definitely Maybe.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
Because I just think of that album as an album. I can't imagine hearing Supersonic and going, oh yeah, Shaker Maker. I didn't think of that. I've never really been that fussed about Shaker Maker. It's a bit of a throwaway one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But imagine hearing it at the time and that catchy rip-off of the Coke advert. That would have been pretty catchy. Would have been everywhere.
Yeah, and then later, and then when you listen to the album and you listen to Cigarettes and Alcohol, and this has been well documented, as you know, when you hear that opening riff and you go, "That's T-Rex, man! What the fuck?" Like they're not even hiding it.
Yeah,
and that's what it was. I think that's why they resonated so much, because their attitude and everything, like they didn't give a fuck, and we just had grunge. And so that was all, like Noel said himself, it was all like, I hate myself and I want to die. And he's like, fuck that, man. I want to live forever. I want to be a fucking rock and roll star. Why are you feeling sorry for yourself? You're a millionaire. I'm sitting in a bed. I'm sitting in a bed sit with my dad's fucking second-hand guitar, and you're moaning from your mansion. He goes, "Go fuck yourself." And I think that's why Oasis exploded the way they did. You know, that attitude of "I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to have it."
That's a cracking description. See, I don't remember that as much. I remember more sort of what's the story, because I'd have been a little bit too young for that. But that's what it. Well, people who slag Oasis off, you got, you know, being young and hearing someone going, "You need to be yourself. You can't be no one else." You're fucking right, Liam. Fucking right.
It was such, and the Beatles weren't cool up until that point. No one gave a fuck about the Beatles. They were long gone.
What, your age?
When
no one
gave.
I was going to say people before
now.
gave a fuck.
Yeah. So people did before. They didn't in my house. We didn't have the Beatles when I was growing up. My dad I've said this loads. My dad had the White Album, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that was because my mum had bought it for him for a Valentine's present. That was the only reason we had that in the house. My dad hated the Beatles. He was like, "Nah, they're a girls' band. They're a girls' band." So it wasn't until
I've never heard anyone call the Beatles a girls' band. They're like fucking One Direction to your dad.
Yeah, exactly what he said. And then,
wow.
and then it wasn't until Oasis came along, and they were going on about the Beatles, and I was like, "The fucking Beatles? Why are they talking about the Beatles?" And I remember living with this guy Stuart, and he had the compilation albums, the Beatles, the Blue and the Red.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, they were wanging on about I Am the Walrus, and they covered it, and I'm like, what is this song? And I remember just putting that album on, and I put on I Am the Walrus, and it blew my head off. I was like, I get it now. And so, you know, even though we didn't like the Beatles, I remember we had the video cassette of Yellow Submarine, the animation.
Yeah.
That was on a lot when I was a kid. So we loved that. Yeah. And then I played that to my kids when they were born. That was like the first sort of thing I made them watch. Yellow Submarine. Used to have it on all the time. So they've always been there, the Beatles, but they weren't cool until Oasis came along and went, "You need to check out the Beatles." That's where the anthologies came from. Was all that because this newfound love of the Beatles from
that. Well, that's where I kind of got into that Oasis. I got into them. I've said this before. It stopped me getting into Oasis because I was obsessed with the Beatles at the age of about when the anthology came out, which was about like 95, 96, I think 96.
Yeah. It's about 95 or so.
So I was obsessed with the Beatles. Just I don't know why. Just because it seemed like really historically important. So I was just, and then Oasis was saying we're bigger than the Beatles. So I didn't like Oasis at first. I was like, hey, don't you talk about the Beatles like that, you little scallywags. Who are these? And then obviously, I remember what it was. I remember clearly when when Liam walked off that American tour.
Yeah.
I remember where I was. You remember exactly where you were when you hear something on the news and really something in your brain clicks.
Yeah.
Going around a roundabout in Northampton. And someone on the radio went, just some moron on the radio go, "Oh, it's terrible that Oasis might split up because they're like our Beatles." That was the first time I went, "Oh yeah, maybe I should stop listening to the actual Beatles and appreciate my version of the Beatles." And that's when I was mental into Oasis and haven't stopped since. But I sort of missed out. Definitely, maybe I was more. What's the story? Was more.
Well, you see, the thing is, I'm not asked about. I don't mind what's the story. I personally don't think it's their best. I remember that it came along at the right time, and everybody, and rightly so, went mental for it. And Nebworth happened, and it was all part. I think that's the thing as well. Is what was happening around the records, it's not just the records themselves. You know, there was hope, and there was a positivity in the air, and then Tony Blair came along in '97. Yeah, and everyone felt buoyed by it. There was a positivity that, you know, there was like, things are going to be all right. Things are going to change, man.
Yeah, because Britain became really cool because it was Damien Hirst.
That was it.
Like,
literature,
all that art was massive.
Yeah.
Kate Moss was like massive all around the world. So Britain seemed really cool. Yeah. And I didn't know any different. Because I was like 15, 16 while that was happening. I just thought Britain was really cool.
Yeah.
And everything was going to be great. And as you were young, that feeling of being 16, 17, you just thought that's what it felt like to be that age. And everything's going to be amazing. And Oasis were kind of the soundtrack to it.
Yeah.
And they were like, had that, we're the best in the world and and don't give a shit what anyone tells you. Do what you want. If you think you're the best in the world at something, you can be. That's what it felt like.
That's exactly what
teenager.
It was. Yeah. You just got to go out there and go, I'm the fucking dog's bollocks. And,
that's why
that belief.
I get people slag Oasis off sometimes. I think sometimes you got to appreciate, even if you don't like them, like you forget Liam was like 19 or something during Definitely Maybe.
Yeah.
He was 19.
Yeah.
And then What's the Story, 20, that kind of age. And he was saying that they're the best band in the world.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even dare be in a fucking band at the age of 19, let alone who at the age of 19 would have the balls to say we're the best in the world and we don't give a shit what anyone thinks.
And that's why people loved them. And and the fact that when you went to see them, there wasn't dance routines, there wasn't any flashing lights. It was them, and they just stood still. They didn't do anything. They just stood there. And you're like, fuck me. Because before that, we'd had, it was all dancing around and running about, and they would just stare there. And Liam would just be staring the crowd out.
Yeah.
And it just like, what the fuck is this? It really resonated with everybody. And I've said this already, but you do get written off if you go, I like Oasis. People go, well, you're obviously a knobhead then. You're a meathead.
Yeah.
But then there's other things, like I said earlier, there's more basic bitches running the world, which is why all the shit gets up the charts and things like that. But people do say that, oh yeah, but Oasis are in that, they only basic bitches like them, only morons like them. So it's a quandary. You kind of,
Yeah, well, because they went so massive.
Yeah.
But I remember my mate, Neil Dack, DJ at a wedding, gave him a double tape, right? And what he'd done, this DJ had recorded all the B-sides of Oasis.
Yeah.
In order, without any of the singles.
Yeah.
And my mate gave me that. So I had all of Oasis B-sides on a tape in order.
Brilliant.
And I remember listening, because that's the thing about Oasis, people who slag them off, I keep saying this, but in 2 albums, they released probably 4 albums worth of not only music, but of singles.
Yeah.
Not even album tracks, 4 albums worth of singles.
Yeah.
All of their B-sides could have been singles. And I remember listening to those songs, and because they were B-sides, you felt like you'd discovered them and you had a little ownership over them, and other people didn't know about this. Only I know about Half the World Away.
That's it. Yeah.
But that is how it felt, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then they had, got the master plan is a B-side, and they just flung it out, and you're like, that's one of their best songs. What the fuck? It was. I mean, later on, their B-sides weren't as great as they were earlier on, but to be that prolific, it's incredible. It should be. They get. I mean, at the moment, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were slagging off the Beatles. They were like, Beatles are shit. I think they're overrated. They changed the musical landscape. They were doing stuff that no other bands were doing. And they go, nah, it's overrated. You go, well, you do it then. You come up with Sergeant Pepper when you've only got a broom handle to like loop the tapes around. You go and make Sergeant Pepper on the stuff that they had to do it on back then. Even though it was state of the art for the time of it was Abbey Road, but
yeah,
you ain't coming up with Sergeant Pepper.
What year was 66?
66, yeah.
How long ago was that now? I can't do the maths of that. That was
54 years.
Yeah, so Tomorrow Never Knows is 54 years old. Yeah. Nearly half a century old, over half a century old, and it sounds like put it on the radio now.
Yeah.
And it sounds better than anything today.
It's incredible. I mean, you think about when we were kids, and then they used to play old music when we were kids.
Yeah.
And it was shit. You weren't harking back to that. You were like, oh, God, that's just old people's music. But from the 60s, sort of 50s, the late 50s, early 60s onwards, you put all that. We haven't really moved on that much, it doesn't feel. You can still play songs that are 50 years old and go, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Fun, innit? Yeah.
And because I remember, when they were, that's maybe why when they were, Anthology came out and they were talking about, so that would have been, say, 95 then.
Yeah.
And, so that's 25 years, 60, 70, 80, hang on. Yeah, 25 years since the Beatles split up. And that seemed like a lot. That's like another world away when you're 15.
Yeah. You go, what?
But now,
25 years?
like Oasis 25-year anniversaries are happening. You're like, whoa, that doesn't seem that long ago.
I know. It's nuts, isn't it? But Oasis tapped into something that maybe Blur didn't. Blur. I mean, we all bought the same. We were all buying the albums. We all bought Blur records, and there wasn't any like Oasis or Blur. It was just a news thing.
Yeah.
But Oasis kind of resonated more with the people than Blur did. Blur did later on when they came back and did the big gigs in Hyde Park. People, obviously, rightly so, went mad. But at the time, Oasis they were like the lads in the pub. You could relate to them. They wore the same trainers as you and the same coat, and they were just your mates, but in a band, and that's why we loved them.
Yeah, I still remember that interview on the news. I think Noel Gallagher had said, I think it was the one where he said that taking drugs is like having a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And some news reporter who's at his front door, and he goes, I was asked a question, I gave an answer. If you don't like it, don't fucking ask me questions. Nothing you or anyone else can do about it. Brilliant. And I look at that, I remember at the time going, wow.
Yeah.
He's a rock star, and he's like old. And look, he was probably 26.
Yeah, he was old.
Imagine being 26 and all the news reporters are at your door. I can handle that now. And he's just like, yeah, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it?
And people look at it and they go, oh, they're oafs, they're morons, they're this. They were honest, they were real, they were working class lads being fucking rock stars, proper rock stars. And now, they're not. They're all worried about getting cancelled, and they're all doing like they've got to get behind causes and things like that. And you're like, no, you're rock stars. That's why you do this. You can still change lives by doing what you're doing. You're giving people something to aspire to be. We all wanted to be rock stars when we were kids.
Yeah, and now you wanted to be a footballer or a rock star.
Yeah, but, and now I don't want to be a rock star now. There's no one to be. Everyone's they're all safe, and you've got Coldplay's Chris Martin. I'm not knocking Coldplay. They've got some great songs, but his wife's making candles out of her vagina, and
she's making some waxy candles. I don't know.
Do you know what Marcus
Bergman
Bergman said that this podcast would end up being the Oasis Appreciation Society. He said
such a bell ending.
Yeah, fuck him. He doesn't like Oasis anyway, and he hates the fact that.
Discuss that.
Mate, he's one of them where he just sneers. You're like, no. He's like, no, it's shit. I go, it can't be shit, can it?
Yeah, he loves a sneer.
Loves a sneer.
But he loves the Damned as well.
He does. Yeah, man.
And you went with him at that.
Yes.
What do you reckon is the best gig you've ever been to?
I tell you what, one of the best gigs, one of the ones that was surprisingly good in the end, was Ian Brown. We went to see him solo at Brixton. Brixton Academy is the biggest venue I'll go to. After that, it gets too big. But
Brixton. There's no bad place to stand at Brixton. Everywhere's you got a good view.
It's fucking great.
It slopes gradually. It's great.
Perfect venue. And we went to see Ian Brown, and we were there. And I remember I was with my girlfriend at the time, Shell, and we sort of stood there. And Ian Brown comes out, it's fucking Ian Brown. And he starts singing, and we're like, oh my God, it's appalling. He can't, he's really out of tune. And you're going, shit. And everyone's kind of looking at each other going, oh my God. But then, halfway through, my pill kicks in as he gets into Made of Stone by the Stone Roses. It's this beautiful chemical holding hands as we get taken up into the stratosphere. And it was one of the best gigs I've ever been to. Just that moment, it all changed, and we were all singing along Stone Roses songs. I like Ian Brown's solo stuff, but his singing was terrible.
Yeah, I didn't know. I remember finding that out because I was mental into the Stone Roses as well, and I didn't know this. I remember watching Oasis at Main Road video relentlessly because that is breathtaking. That gig, I thought all gigs were like that, just word perfect. Every bit of it is amazing. So I thought bands' gigs on videos are like that. And then I got the Stone Roses at Blackpool. I was like, is this video warped or something? This doesn't sound right.
It's not great, is it?
That's how I found out. I didn't know. But
Mate,
Solo
No one said it. No one mentioned it. No one said he can't sing. Everyone.
till Reading when it.
Yeah.
No one could deny it.
Yeah. You're like, this is really bad. Really bad. But
I've seen him recently on stuff, and he sounds a lot better.
Oh, really?
On that Stone Roses documentary, Shane Meadows one.
Yeah,
he sounded good on that.
Oh, maybe they auto-tuned the video.
There's a chance of that.
He's a black belt and stuff. I've got to be careful. He might kick me head in if he listens to this.
Yeah.
Got to be careful.
But, so you reckon that was the best?
That's one
gig
of the-
I think the Pill has to take some of the credit for that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was a chemical.
Yeah.
I suddenly got a chemical hug, and it went, "Come on, let's do this." And I went, yeah. And just as it went into Made of Stone as well, opening bars, I was like, perfect.
Jesus.
And then we're all fucking hollering, sometimes and it went mad. The place went ballistic. It's brilliant. One of the best gigs I've ever been to, and this might be controversial, was Reef.
Oh yeah.
Reef. Again at Brixton.
Your hands, that one.
Mate, they were electric. Yeah. They really were fucking brilliant. Yeah, really good.
Did not know of this.
Yes. I got into them. Well, they had their first album, or their song, I think it's a song Naked. And it was on an advert for like cassette tapes or something like that. And that's where everyone got into Reef. That's where that came from. Their first album. And then Place Your Hands came out and everyone went nuts for Reef. Fucking great band live.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever got have you ever got into a band by accident? Have you ever got in a band in a weird way?
Have I ever got into a band at all?
Like a support band or
I tell you what, I went to see a band called the Dirt Bombs. They're like this Detroit like band, and they were brilliant. And I went to see them at the garage in Islington, and I'm there with Neds, and Neds used to do the sound up the creek in Croydon. And me and him went out to see it, and we stood there, and then the support band were all setting up. And we're like, the keyboards, why are the keyboards right at the front of the stage? That doesn't look good. That's going to be terrible. And then the band come out and they go, and they're brilliant. And we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I looked to my right and there was Ian Astbury from The Cult stood next to me in his Jim Morrison days. And I was like, oh my God, it's Ian Astbury. And I was kind of nodding at each other going, it's fucking great, it's fucking great. And it was the Killers. The Killers were supporting.
Oh, all right.
Well, this is before they blew up. This is before anyone had ever heard of them. They were supporting the Dirt Bombs at the garage. And they were amazing.
Garage in Islington.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was amazing. I'm not a big fan of the Killers now, but then it was like...
I've had this
oh my God.
conversation with Jared. Yeah, I remember the first two albums were unbelievable. Their debut album was one of the best debuts.
Hot Fuss. Excellent.
But then I was saying to Jared, they went a bit disco anthem for me.
Yeah, not even good disco. I love a bit of disco, but that's not good disco.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to them.
No.
But God, that's a good. And it's funny that when you see them becoming massive, doing huge gigs,
Yeah.
I saw you supporting
Yeah.
Islington.
Yeah, Islington.
You never,
at the garage.
in your brain, you'll never let them get over that. They don't know you're thinking that. They're there doing these massive gigs, but in your brain, you're going, "Yes, it's all very well."
Yeah, well, you're still.
But don't forget where I saw you, even though you don't know me.
But I've seen loads of bands like that, like the Verve, like I said, supporting Black Crows. They were amazing. Twisted Wheel supporting Oasis. They were good.
Yeah.
They're a good band. So I think loads of people don't bother with the support bands, but I always just like to be. I like the atmos. I like to hear the bands tuning up. Like when you're stood around at the gig and you've got your pints and you're there and you can hear them. They're like tuning setting the drums up.
I love that. The anticipation of
Yeah.
That's
the guitar, and then the lights go down, and
you see someone walk on. You think, oh no, it's a roadie. It's just a roadie. Don't worry, it's just a roadie.
Yeah,
is that? No, it's a roadie.
Yeah,
is that Ian Brown? No, that's a roadie.
I remember. All that. I just love all that. I tell you what. I remember I saw Reverend and the Makers last year, Electric Ballroom. I was on my own. And I'm wandering around and I was stood at the side just before they came out, and they were playing it was all music from Sheffield because that's where they're from. Yeah. And they played the Human League, Don't You Want Me Baby, And I tell you what, I videoed it because it was so spectacular. Watching this group there was like 90% geezers. And they're all jumping up and down going, don't you want me, baby? And it was beautiful. It was so good. And then the band came out and were fucking brilliant.
Moment, yeah.
Yeah. And those moments, this is why going to see bands and people want to feel part of something. We want to feel part of a gang. Or part, that's why you go to these places and you're all as one. You're like, yeah, we're fans of this band. We're connected. And I think all this shit with COVID has really shone a light on the fact that we need human connection. We need to be part of something.
How much, like, I don't go to live gigs as much as I did, but I had 2 booked in that I was going to see that have not happened. And I really now, I didn't think much of it at the time. I thought, well, I'll see them when they're rescheduled. But now I'm like, I can't remember. It feels like a lifetime ago since I saw a live band.
Yeah.
I really miss it.
I miss it as well. Go just that whole night. Go to the pub beforehand, and then you have a few beers. And the last live band I saw, I think I saw the Slackers in Camden with Marcus. They're a good band. Yeah, good.
I've not heard of them.
Yeah, Slackers. They're like sort of ska reggae. They've been going for years. And Marcus had been on about them for ages. And then they went, they're playing. We're going to go. Phenomenal band, the Slackers. Fucking brilliant band.
Well, I was going to ask at the end, what's a good...
Oh, there you go.
Is there a band that you recommend at the moment? You've done that one.
Slackers.
The one I like asking now, at the moment, is... it's been the same answers two weeks in a row, so I know you'll be different. If there was, because that was Jeff Innocent and Marcus Birdman, so they were very similar, their answer, but if there was one album that you said to somebody about this album, that you love this album, and they said they hate that album, that you can never truly... You can never have anything to do with that person again.
Oh, wow. I reckon The Infected.
All right.
That is an album that will stay with me forever. That one and Frankenchrist by Dead Kennedys. I think I judge people that don't get on board. I put on The Infected at work at the t-shirt place I've been working at, because the lads, they like, one of them, Jody, he listens to thrash metal and all this other dark stuff, which is not very soothing. And then the other lads, they like a bit of Beastie Boys, Public Enemy, and then there's a lot of Blink 182 and Green Day and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm going to put on. They went, what do you want to? Come on, Rich, you're the music boy. What do you want on? And I put on The Infected, and none of them got into it. None of them got into it. They kind of went, it's a bit 80s, isn't it? I'm like, oh my God, right?
And I
can't work here.
You typed out your resignation letter.
I just ripped out all the t-shirts. When you can shove this fucking job, how dare you? I judge people on. I try not to be a music snob, but I'm terrible.
Really? You spoke to Marcus?
Do you know what? He makes me die. I said to him...
He's not a music snob, he's a music fascist. And I love it.
Because he always takes a piss. He goes, why? He goes, what's that? That's shit. It's not like, oh, it's not really for me. He's like, no, that's shit. Like, it's not shit.
That's the difference.
Yeah. It's like, you don't like it. It doesn't mean it's shit. And he's like, no, it's shit, and you shouldn't be listening to it. And then I'm like, but all you do is wank off over one Clash album. You can get fucked as well. Anyone that I'm not a big fan of the Clash. I don't mind some of it, but I'm not a big Clash fan. And people go, well, there's something wrong with me. I'm like, no, it just didn't speak to me. It doesn't speak to me. I like some of it. I'm not asked, but I think a lot of people will talk about being fans of the Clash because they feel that's what they have to say. But it's like people that say, everyone goes, oh yeah, there's some people that don't like football, and I'm one of them as well. And then when you really you go, right, do you really like football? I go, no, I just have to say it because I'm with the lads. It's like people like the Clash. They go, you go, really? Do you really like the Clash? And they go, no, not really, but I can't say that I don't. And I'm like, fuck the Clash, man.
Wow, what a way to end.
There you go.
Fuck the Clash. What a way to end. Who knew it'd end there?
I think it's more about the people that say they like the Clash that piss me off. It's like, if you don't like the Clash, then you're an idiot. You go, no, not really. So I've slagged off
Yeah.
the Clash, but I've been bigging up Oasis.
Oh no, that feels right.
Yeah.
But, I have to get on that. I'm not listening to any the.
Ah, mate, the Infected. Get on it. It's even got
Right.
Naylor Cherry on backing vocals on Slow Train to Dawn. Yes.
Oh, okay then. Okay then. Let's do that.
Yeah, do it.
Rich,
Mate.
Rich, this cut and shut patchwork of a podcast has been an absolute joy.
Thank you for having me, mate. It was a long time coming, but we got there.
A podcast from producer Paul.co.uk.